Okay, guys, we need to just go over the basic neuron here. So this is 2, 2, 1. So just real quick, I know you guys know all the parts, but you're not putting the connection together. So I just want to go over that real quick. So the electrical signal is called the action potential. All right, so action potential is the electrical signal. That is sent, it starts here, and it's sent down the dendrite, through the cell body, through the axon, to the axon terminal. So this right here is the axon terminal. All right, so this is the myelin sheath. Going to put MS, and that speeds the reaction, that electrical signal along. All right. Then what we got is if we're talking to another neuron, we have these neuron transmitters at the synapse. So the synapse is just a space between neurons. But if we're talking about synapses, we're talking about signals being sent between multiple cells. All right, because when a synapse occurs in between this, so we can use it as a noun and a verb. As a noun, it is the space. As a verb, it is when a signal is sent from one cell to another. All right, so whenever this signal is sent, the synapse occurs, there's a signal being sent. And notice how there's tons of dendrites here. So the more signals that are sent, that's generally how we learn things. You get stronger connections, more connections. So it's not that we get more neurons, we get more signals. All right, so more signals equals learning. All right, so that's why you have to repeat things over and over again to solidify those signals. Every time you're repeating something, you're making more connections. So repeat once, twice, 3 times. And studying, just going over things over and over again. You're connecting those signals, and you're learning and memorizing because you've now solidified that pathway in your hippocampus. All right, so now this part right here, these neurotransmitters that flow through the synapse, is the chemical signal. All right, so electrical impulses can't go across a space, so we send these little chemicals called neurotransmitters that go across the space. All right, and we can talk more about that, but one key thing, one mistake that I'm seeing here, is the neurotransmitters bind to these receptors, and just like hormones do. All right, and then they tell the cell to start another action potential, which then goes through, and this is the receiving neuron. All right, so neurons just send signals to one other neuron, but this could be a muscle cell or something else telling it to do something, but they're sending signals from one cell to the other, and they use electrical signals and chemical signals. So one more quick thing before I finish this video is for the task. So a lot of you explained the parts right, but you didn't put it all together. So no one used this example, so I'm just going to give it to you. And I feel like this is the best probably example is here's, say you're watching YouTube on your computer and you got your earbuds on. All right. So the computer, where your jack of your headphones go into the computer, that would be the dendrite because it's receiving the signal. Then you could talk about like the little hub at that jack as being the cell body, but we're not going to worry about that. Don't care too much about the cell body. Then that electrical signal is sent via the axon, and that's your electrical signal, your action potential. So electrics going from the computer to the earbuds. All right, and the wire is surrounded by a rubber thing called the myelin, which allows those signals to be sent like instantaneously. All right, your myelin sheath, which speeds up reactions. And then they split and they go to the axon terminals, which are the actual earbuds. All right, and then we got two more components, and the synapse. So the synapse is the space between. So the synapse is the space between the earbuds and the ear. And then the neurotransmitters are being released. It's a different type of signal now. So we'll go from electrical to sound waves, and that the sound. The actual sound waves is we'll just call it, even though it's not chemical, I would call it the chemical signal or the neurotransmitters. All right, so hopefully that helps if you watch this video. It helps you know those signals better, or that neuron better.